Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. It is exactly 12 after 8 o'clock. This is News and Views on Salam Media. We're going to be talking with a Member of Parliament for the DA, and that is Ghaleb Cachalia. This obviously is to unpack the issue around government wanting to declare a state of disaster regarding the situation with Eskom. South Africa's ruling party, the ANC, has directed the government to declare a national state of disaster at a struggling power utility, Eskom, hopefully in a bid to end the ongoing energy crisis. My big question is, why has it taken all of this time and all of this terrible damage to the country, to people's livelihoods, to small businesses? And it's only now that government seems to be waking up to the terrible crisis that we find ourselves in. So let's hear what Ghaleb Cachalia has to say about this, and obviously the DA themselves. Assalamu alaikum, welcome to the program.
Nice to meet you.
Lovely to have you on the show, and really a very serious situation. And even before you respond, I just want to also read out what the EFF has stated in one of their media releases. They are saying that the COVID-19 pandemic was an instructive lesson on the ability of the ANC government to utilize tragedy and disaster as means to massively loot state resources. There was no verifiable intervention that saved lives when South Africa was under a state of national disaster during the COVID-19 pandemic, and massive corruption occurred under the guise of emergency procurement of PPEs. And I think that is one of the huge concerns for us as South Africans. Khaled?
Yes, yes. This is this is a question on everyone's list. Uh, the DA and I have called for a ring fence state of disaster around Eskom to deal with the crisis that we are facing in electricity. We have called for this a long time. I can't remember exactly when, but it goes back years. Uh, the ANC has woken up at 5:12 and decided to institute a national state of disaster. We are adamant that this should be the ring-fence state of disaster around Eskom, that it should have an independent panel of experts overseeing it, that it should be tabled in Parliament with specific oversight measures in place, not the lip service that is currently allowed, and the steamrolling that's allowed, that one witnesses in committees and in Parliament by the ANC, but proper oversight, and that this should be uh, implemented in conjunction with specific acts, National People's Act, National Security Act, and the like that we have at our disposal to ensure that decisions are taken wisely within the organization. That that those decisions unlock certain money from other areas which can be brought on under certain specific circumstances. So you say this is what we intend to do specifically at one particular juncture within Eskom. This is how we're going to do it. This is why we're going to do it. This is how long it's going to take in terms of the time frame. This is what it's going to cost. This is who's going to oversee it, and this is who's going to be responsible for it. Now, those sorts of measures and actions properly overseen will allow us the transparency and the oversight to ensure that this is managed. Otherwise, it will be a leaking stream, as we've seen quite correctly, as you say, in COVID before. Not just at the level of functionaries, but in terms of ministers in the government who've who've availed themselves of this sort of madness. Now, that is our position, and that is what we stick to. If there's an opportunity here to fix this thing, the government has come to it very late. I don't know why. In their wisdom or unwisdom, they have come to it at the 11th hour, but they have come to it. We are putting them on terms. This is us, and we and the nation will hold you to account. There are legal measures which we will unlock, and we will institute against you, because you have accused people in Eskom of being treasonous for no rhyme or reason.
Ghaleb, can I just interrupt you there, please? Can you move around a little? You're breaking up as you're speaking.
Yes, I think if, there are many things available to us to ensure that if you fail in this regard, and by fail I mean not only fail but lead, we will take you to court, and we will ensure that the treason that you have accused others of are going to be at your doorstep and will hang around your neck. They are putting you on threat. This is the last chance here.
We are already in a state of disaster. We have been from the time Eskom started their rolling blackouts. You are well aware, as the rest of the country, that scores of people are now unemployed because of this disaster. Um, can we get some sort of reassurance by the DA, by government, that this is going to be so closely monitored that it's not going to be open to corruption? We're hearing stories, we're hearing issues that the government's brother in law and his friends and cronies would possibly benefit from this situation. There's also talk about speeding up the independent power producers as well. So all of those, there's lots of talk going on, as you are well aware, and it's confusing the public. It's worrying for the public, and there doesn't seem to be an end in sight. But before you respond to that, Ghaleb, I need to change my headphones because I'm not hearing you clearly at all. Let's go for an ad break and try and get a clearer sound as far as this interview is concerned. So please do stand by for us.
Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.
There's no smell that takes me back to the comfort of my childhood than the smell of flaxseed oil being applied by my nanny. Now I'm using tib blackseed in my own home to soothe sniffles and coughs, to help with digestion and immunity, and of course, as part of my beauty routine. After all these years, I've come to appreciate the wisdom in finding comfort and shifa in trusted treatments like tib blackseed. You can find Tib Black Seed at all leading pharmacies or find out more at blackseed.co.za.
Devastating floods in Pakistan have washed away villages, claimed the lives of more than 1,000 people, damaged nearly 1 million homes, and left over 33 million people in desperate need of help. As the catastrophe unfolds, Islamic relief is on the ground, reaching people with life-saving aid. Our team are working tirelessly to deliver food and shelter. Your support is urgently needed now to help save more lives. Donate now to Islamic Relief.
Ah, the kitchen, the heart of the home, where memories are made and celebrated. Our go-to place for those freshly stacked pancakes early in the morning or for that late-night snack munchies. We are in there together, cooking, eating and celebrating life together. Let's keep the kitchen a place that is shared by everyone, where we build stronger bonds and grow together. Sunfoil, now we cooking. Visit nowwecooking.co.za for recipes that everyone can help make.
When the perfect blend of stylish decor, exquisite halal cuisine, and warm hospitality come together, it could only mean Albeit Lodge, your true home away from home. Albeit is the ideal heaven for families, business people, and tourists with its 4-star family rooms and other luxurious facilities, conveniently situated close to Port Elizabeth Airport, the beach, and other amenities. Your stay will be truly unforgettable, as you'll be taking home lasting memories of the warm hospitality, the serenity and tranquility that Albeit has to offer. For reservations, call 041 583 6415 or visit www.albeitlodge.co.za.
Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome back. It is exactly 8:23 a.m. I am talking with Member of Parliament for the DA, and that, of course, is Ghaleb Cachalia. We are getting response to the government calling for a state of disaster over the Eskom crisis. Welcome back, Ghaleb. Would you like to respond to my questions just before the ad break?
What was the question?
Okay, we're hearing talks about issues around Cyril Ramaphosa, his brother-in-law, and his cronies may benefit from the state of disaster. You have indicated that the DA would ring fence this state of disaster on Eskom. Would the DA and other interested parties truly be able to contain it and prevent a large-scale corruption from happening this time around?
Look, we will do our absolute best. We have learned from the COVID debacle. We will have every leader in Parliament at our disposal. We will not rest until we are absolutely secure that we have covered every single base in that regard. We will continue to push for transparency and independence in terms of experts monitoring this particular exercise. And if there is a hint of any malfeasance or any skullduggery, we will have recourse to the court at a moment's notice and seek urgent relief to bring these people to book, to ensure that this looting or the threat of looting is checked. We have learned, and we are absolutely aware of all the connected dots, if you want, which provide clear and present dangers in this regard.
Okay, up to now, it seems that only because the DA has put pressure on the ANC regarding this crisis that we find ourselves in, has Cyril Ramaphosa decided to declare a state of emergency regarding the Eskom crisis. Do you believe that if you guys hadn't applied the pressure, we would still be carrying on as per normal? What exactly does the state of disaster then mean to people, ordinary people like myself?
Well, he's responded finally to our demands and our pressure.
Because he was very reluctant, was he not? He kept pushing back against this issue.
Very recently, he came out and said, we do not need to do this. Now there's an about turn.
Right.
And I don't know what has occasioned this about turn, but I can tell you that in all probability, what has occasioned this about turn is inside information that Eskom is on the brink of failure. So he has been forced to act. And this is the only way that he can act. And if he acts properly, we will support him. If he acts improperly, we will bury him. This is no joke. The nation has suffered. It has suffered economically. People have suffered in their homes. Small businesses have died. Our growth has shrunk, and investment in the country has almost halted. doesn't come to an end, then we are in deep, deep, deep trouble.
Let's,
And
Ghalib, let's look at the worst case scenario. I'm going to put a couple of questions to you. Number one, I just want to understand as a lay person, what does this state of disaster mean for me? Because I'm already in a state of disaster, as the rest of South Africa, with these rolling blackouts. I mean, how much worse could the situation get? So what would it actually mean for us? How long is it going to last? The country is already on the brink of collapse, right? Uh, and if the situation doesn't improve by the state of disaster, what is the DA and civil society organizations? What is the recourse for us? So I've thrown a whole host of questions. Let's start with the
yeah,
first question being, what does this mean for ordinary citizens? State of disaster,
yeah.
how's it going to change or impact on my life?
Well, the government has, Cyril Ramaphosa has instituted what is called the state of disaster. He talks about the national state of disaster. We don't have any details in that regard. We have called for a ring-fence state of disaster around Eskom. Now, if you ring-fence the state of disaster around Eskom, then you are focusing on fixing what is broken in Eskom and
Ah,
allowing excess generation to come to bear to fill the gap which we clearly have in power generation to alleviate business and ordinary people's lives. But if you have a national state of disaster which compels people to do certain things, then I don't know what it is because it hasn't been unpacked by government yet. And we will pressurize him as of today to say exactly what this means and what is in his head in this regard.
because it is so unclear at this point in time, do we have room as civil society and other political parties to push back against a national state of disaster? I like what the DA is saying. I like what you are saying regarding ring fencing around Eskom and trying to fix and addressing everything that is wrong within Eskom. Why the necessity for a national state of disaster? Why do we not get clear communication as to what and how it impacts on all of our lives?
Well, it is up to him to make that clear. They are the party in government. And if
Mm.
they if they institute a state of disaster which has undue and more uh, worse, if you like, uh, impact on ordinary people's lives and on businesses, then civil society must react, and we will react in a parliamentary fashion within the ambit of our scope of our power. We also, as I said, have the court recourse to the court, and we will take we will ensure that these ridiculous measures that are put in place, like were put in place under COVID, no rotisserie chickens and bans on cigarettes and no closed-toed shoes, open-toed shoes, and idiocy like that uh, are not brought to bear. If one would hope that that government has learned from this, and we will continue to push for a ring-fence state of disaster because there's no need to have a national state of disaster. As you say, ordinary people have suffered enough. The whole point of this exercise that we have pushed for is to fix Eskom so that the gap in power generation can be closed and then power can flow into the homes and businesses of people so that we can restore an ordinary and normal life. That is what is required. Anything else is superfluous and will be onerous. And we will make sure that does not happen. That's the
Okay,
best of all.
Ghalib, it seems as if the DA does have the political will to try and address the problem the country is facing. And if you guys get this right, undoubtedly you're going to win a lot of support going forward. We're hearing lots of stories about at the next, at the elections next year, that the ANC is going to be facing massive losses. So if you guys get this right, then obviously you are really going to win lots and lots of votes going forward. That being said, uh, is it doable? Can you almost give us a reassurance? And I know it's difficult. I have your back to the wall by this question, but is it doable if there is political will, and if money grabbers, greedy money grabbers and corruptors don't have their paws out, if you can contain all of that, can we pull the country back from the brink of disaster as far as the energy crisis is concerned?
Of course, this is doable. And what needs to be done is that Eskom needs to be fixed. And outside Eskom, in parallel, independent power producers must be allowed, given the unfettered right to, to generate electricity for their own use in businesses in their homes, and in parallel, the money must be brought in not only to fix Eskom, but to expand and to consolidate the grid so that the grid is able to absorb excess electricity in a seamless way. That is what needs to be done. There is no other thing outside Eskom that needs to be done. You don't need to be told when you need to go on air and when you should not go on air, how much you
Mm-hmm.
spend on your own generation and in terms of generators and the like, and what you should do in your own home with your uh, with, with your with your geysers and your kettle. We've already
Mm.
told that, so we are blue in the face. Every South African behaves responsibly in this regard, and if they don't, they are forced to behave responsibly, because if they go over the mark, the electricity gets cut.
Right.
We need to focus on the electricity generation and the grid that that that, that transmits it. That is what's required, and it is entirely possible. Of course, all of this requires money.
Mm-hmm.
Everything requires money, and therein lies the rub. That money has to be spent sensibly, not on middlemen, not on stupid procurement protocol, not on
Mm-hmm.
paid employment, and not on insane labor agreements when you are in a crisis mode. When you are in a crisis mode, almost in a war-like situation, you deal with things responsibly, frugally, and you put money where you'll get the best return for your buck. That is what's required. It is utterly doable. It is in the interest of this government to do it. If they do this properly and correctly, they know that they will get the reasonable response from people in terms of the looming elections to say, no, you have done this properly. Fail in this regard, and they are going to be held to book, not only in the ways I have outlined, but at the full.
Absolutely. Ghaleb Cachalia, undoubtedly we're going to be having, many talks in the future regarding this unfolding crisis in the country. And let's wait and see what the ANC or Cyril Ramaphosa is going to announce regarding this state of disaster. Thank you indeed. Ghaleb is a member of parliament for the DA, talking about this disaster and calling on Cyril Ramaphosa to start taking action, and taking action now. Shukran for your time, and salaam alaikum to you.
Walaikum salam. Thank you very much.
8:37 exactly. We are going to listen to a sound bite. It's the voice of Leanne Matthys. She is the EFF national spokesperson. And right after that, we are going to be talking to Zainab Latif. She is an activist and a mother of 6 children. She has fled Sweden and she's here to tell us a story of why she finds herself in this situation.